This is my new HP 315 latex printer. All right, what does it do? Why did I buy it? I'm still trying to figure that out. I've had this thing for about a week, and if you know me and know my channel, you know that I print photos and I print art, and I work with Canon large format pigment ink aqueous systems that are designed for photos and art. And in the past, I've talked a little bit about the two major types of large format printing. There's that type, and then there's the other type. There's more for banners and vinyl and vehicle wraps and exterior grade, solvent, eco-solvent, resin, UV, and latex. The big advantage of the other system is highest color gamut, and they focus on longevity as far as archival quality in art prints. The other side is focused on durability, being outside, signs, flexible materials like a banner material or something like that, wallpaper, wall coverings for trade shows, window decals, and stickers, bumper stickers, die cut, whatever, because this stuff is designed to be stronger and last outside. So I never really thought I needed to look into this world of printing or do that much research on it, and I didn't speak very highly of it in the past, primarily like solvent-based printing. And I shouldn't have done that because I'm all about learning, and if I don't really know something about something, I shouldn't speak very strongly about it. And I didn't really know that much, except it had a smaller color gamut, so it's not ideal for art printing in comparison to my Canons. But something that happened recently is I got really frustrated with having to varnish every print. Since I've decided to varnish all my prints, it's expensive, it's time consuming, it's messy, and I have two lines of prints. I have my cheaper line and my archival line. With everything getting more expensive, I've been trying to figure out how I can cut my costs without raising prices on my customers. One way I thought I would look into doing that is for my lower line of canvases, printing on something like this where I don't have to varnish them, and they're super durable and they can go out the door as is, and that saves me a ton of labor and cost of fancy expensive varnish. So I started looking at latex machines because they have a lot of advantages over solvent and UV printers. They don't need ventilation. They're more eco-friendly because they are water-based inks, but they work by, there's a latex polymer in the ink. They are cured with heat. So they have all these fans along them, and as the print's coming out, this cools everything down and dries it. And when it heats it up, it basically melts the latex and it sticks to the medium really well. And the fans cool it down and it dries in a way that's really flexible. So it works really well with canvases, and you don't have to worry about cracking on the edges and when you fold, which was the big appeal to me. And on top of that, you can print a bunch of stuff like wallpaper, wrapping paper, stickers if you want to go that route, and all these different other mediums. And I'm a print nerd, so I thought, let's start thinking about this. And I started at a time when this machine was being discontinued. This is the 315, it's 54 inch, 6 cartridge. And the fact that it was being discontinued really kind of pushed me to rush into it. First, I know some of you might say HP, you've heard so much bad stuff about HP. I do have a friend that works for HP, and he tells me that their consumer grade products are not to be purchased, but their commercial products are actually really solid. And I've heard really good things about HP's latex printers, that they're pretty foolproof, and they're pretty maintenance free, which, like my Canons, I love that very much. My Canons are bulletproof. So when they decided to discontinue this, I looked into it. HP offers 5 years support. This is their only 54 inch model, which brings the price down quite a bit. I don't, at this point, need anything over 54. The 64 is the next. Another big perk with this one, that this is the only one I could find, is these printers run on 220 power. And all the 64 inch models, you have to have 2 dedicated circuits. My shop already has one. It's a 220, 20 amp. This thing has 2 plugs. one for the printer and one for the curing. Both together run 16 amps. My outlet was a single, one gang, so I just got a duplex because it has 2 plugs. Put it in the existing wiring, one dedicated circuit, and you're good to go. So because they're discontinued, the price came down. They're gonna be supported for 5 years, and it's the only 54-inch model available. And there was one left in Portland. They went online pretty quick. There was one left at my local dealer. It just kind of made sense. If 5 years from now I decide that I'm really into latex printing and they don't offer support for this anymore, I would consider getting the full 64-inch with maybe some more colors. So this is kind of a test machine. So primarily my use will be low-end canvases. I'm looking specifically at a recycled canvas that is made out of 100% recycled water bottles, which is very interesting to me. The greener I can make my printing, the better. But I'm also gonna dabble with banners and vinyls and stuff like that. I'm not getting a cutter right now. I don't know if I wanna deal with stickers, as that's just a whole nother thing. So when I got this thing, I struggled a lot trying to figure it out. And what I realized is there's not very much information on YouTube about these latex machines. So here I am, and I'm planning on posting stuff as I learn. I'm learning. If you disagree, if you have suggestions, leave them in the comments. I'm all about hearing your ideas, hearing your suggestions. So what I quickly realized with this machine is that I basically have to relearn everything I know. It's very, very different than what I'm used to. The starting point of learning that was RIPS, Raster Image Processor, I believe. RIPS are the software that you use to run these machines. Now, the kinds of printers that I already use, my Canons, don't require an actual RIP. I've always been a Mac user. I use QImage 1, which is basically just a fancy version of the Mac print driver. But all the prints that go through my Mac go through Apple's print driver in their OS. RIPs do not use the native print driver in your OS. And because of this, it means that RIPs generally do not run on Macs. So this was the first hurdle I had to figure out because my whole shop is Mac-based. And one of the bonuses of HP systems is they come with a RIP. Generally, with all the other brand printers, you have to pay for a RIP software, which is really expensive. Like, we're talking a couple $100 a month. That's like as much as the printer payment. So you really have to factor that in. So HP comes with HP Flexi, which is a free RIP. It's pretty basic, but whatever. But if you want to run it on a Mac, you have to use Boot Camp, which isn't on new Macs. You can't use Parallels, which is on all the Silicon Macs. So you have to use an older Mac, and SAI, the company who makes the software, does not support it. They do not offer tech support if you're using a Mac. So that just seemed problematic to me. Caldera is the Mac RIP, but it's like $200, $150 or $200 a month, and I can't justify that cost right now. So what that meant is I had to buy a PC, and I have to learn a PC, and that PC that runs this runs my other printers too. I can also print from my Mac still. So that means I had to change my regular print software, which was QImage 1, and now it's QImage Ultimate. But it's just been one thing after another, and it's a lot to take on and to learn. But I've run a handful of prints through this. I'm happy with the results. I'm getting a handle on the workflow. There's definitely some perks and some things that I don't like as much about this. For example, you need a bunch of canvas on the front of the print. It has to be held down in front of the head before the printing starts. So every canvas I print, there's like 10 to 12 inches of waste. And it also does not automatically cut canvas, so it like reels it back in, and then I have to reel it out. It's slow. It's just a much more time-consuming process to run prints than what I'm used to with my Canons. But the prints that I've done are super durable. My polyester canvas that I use on my Canons is also compatible with this machine, so it's matte, but I've done some matte prints with it, and it's super flat. Like, it stretches really good. It wraps the corners, no cracking at all. So it works well for that. The thing that I'm really curious to see if I'm going to drastically change my opinion on is gamut. So this prints a smaller gamut. From what I found online, it prints like 98% of sRGB versus beyond Adobe RGB that my Canons can print. And I've always been the kind of guy where I want to do the best I can with the machines that I have. So I've done a bunch of videos about getting me, proper color space, best file types, everything to give us the best quality prints we can. That being said, 95% of the prints that come to me, or the files that come to me, are in sRGB. And I don't see that changing. I'm starting to see more stuff in P3, but the bottom line is the majority of the people out there who are viewing their images on your average home computer or on a phone are viewing and editing in a very limited color space. If they're looking at images on the internet, they're only seeing sRGB, and that's what they're used to. So if I look at it that way, I really feel like the significant majority of my customers would actually be completely satisfied with prints in sRGB, because that's what most of them are seeing anyways. The people that I see that being an issue for are artists who are mixing their own colors and really concerned about color accuracy and the real specific hues and saturations of their colors. I'm not planning on getting rid of my Canons, so I will still have those machines to do all my fine art printing. But for everybody else, even most photographers, I don't see this being a big deal to go down to sRGB. So this only has 6 cartridges. These have 12. And that means I'm going to have to replace the cartridges more. But I see more and more talk about, do we really need all these 12 colors for most of the stuff that we're printing? So I'm planning on doing a lot of testing about that and just really seeing what's necessary, because I might change my view on pushing really hard to get everybody to submit files in Adobe RGB or whatever. So that's going to be a big part of this. This is also a little bit lower resolution than my Canons, so I'm curious to see. But again, most of the kind of stuff that I'm going to be printing with this, or aside from my lower end canvases, detail is not going to be nearly as important as it is with my fine art and photo printing. And the canvases I have done on this still have pretty freaking good detail compared to what they still look significantly better than all the big box online crap canvas shops sell. So yeah. So I'll be doing videos on Flexi. I'll be doing videos on different mediums and advantages, disadvantages. But right now I can say I'm excited about this thing. It's loud, it's slow, but the prints are very durable. I'm kind of excited to get to know PC Windows 11 better, just because I have customers that work on Windows, and it'd be good for me to be fluent in PC talk too, not just Mac stuff. So that's the story. That's why I got this thing. What I hope everybody can get from these videos is really seeing how viable these are as machines for printing art, because the majority of all the big online shops use these or solvent printers because of the durability and because you don't have to varnish your prints, and that saves them a ton of time and a ton of money. So I don't think I'll ever say that these prints are better than my Canons, but let's see if we can get close. Thanks for watching. If there's certain things that you want to know about this, shoot me an email. Ask me for topics that you're interested about these kind of machines, because it'll give me a chance to dig and do some more learning in different fields about it, and the more I know, the better. I have a feeling in a couple months I'll know this thing in and out, which is the way my brain works. So thanks a lot for watching. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.